What's up, guys? Tambo here with your weekly core report. We're coming off of Thanksgiving, and our members and experts had a ton to be thankful for last week. Let's get to the winners. In the NBA streets, Ash Frank NFL won $1,500. NYG fan used AP's heat map to win $1,800. D-Rex26 hit for $4,500, and new subscriber Tom hit for $15K. Fur PBC shipped for $33K, while the Man 11 had yet another huge payday, shipping for $100,000. RPS continues to dominate all sports, including World Cup soccer. Our team has been crushing it with the content, and we have the receipts to prove it. Go Boys 18 hit for $1K. New member Wes Ray won over $1,300. Jaime's content helped Poker Pastor get through a tough time, hitting for $2K. Big T won over $20K. Rubio's hard work grinding out soccer content paid off with a $20K shipper. Well, the biggest winner was RPS member Eddie, who turned $500 into over $30,000. Our NFL content has been on fire all season, and we didn't let the Thanksgiving holiday slow us down. We have plenty of free content available on our YouTube channel daily, so make sure to subscribe right now to access the winners. DK for 5 hit big on Thanksgiving, winning $10K. C Jacobs 986 joined him, shipping for $15K. On the main slate, Racing Jason 910 hit for over $6K. LT Dog 24 shipped for $50K, while my own heater continued, winning my first FFWCC. For Showdown, our guy Hoop was a big winner, shipping for over $100K across sites. He used his core plays laid out for our premium members, including a low-owned Jelani Woods, who ended up breaking the slate. Shout out to YGuy223, who won over $9K as well. Congrats again to all our members. If you want to be featured in the core report, drop your winning lineup in the Members Never Win channel in our premium Discord. If you're not a member, join now. You won't find a better value with all sports included for one low price. And while you're watching, hit that like button now. Remember, if you're not winning with us, you're watching us win. Till next time, let's keep running pure.
It's the Monday Print Factory. There's a lot going on here. I'm going to break it all down for you, exactly what's going on. But first, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. And listen, I didn't have my best DFS day yesterday. We have someone on who had a pretty goddamn good DFS day, though. So we're going to talk about that. But if you guys were watching the Off the Chalk show yesterday, you know that once again, our guy DC, Peter Christensen, a.k.a. Draft Sheet, he made a bet that he couldn't win once again. Skylar Moore versus Drake London. Drake London, easy predictions. Not even close. Skylar Moore, I think he's still waiting to get his second snap in Cincinnati. He refused to take the team playing home. But you guys know, I asked DC, clear as the day on the show, if I win this, if Drake London outscores Sky Moore, Sky Vodka, whatever his name is, which body part are you going to amputate? And he said, whatever one you want. Well, I can't make this decision alone. I'm kind of leaning towards the left leg below the knee, not too graphic, something that will allow him to live kind of a normal life. But go ahead in chat. I want to hear it. What body part should our guy DC have to amputate for once again losing to me? I'm 3-0 against this cat. It's Matt Chapman. It's Michael Conforto not getting hit, and now Sky Moore versus.
It's also a tough day, right, with his Chiefs and Kelly. Said Kelsey was the lock of the slate. I mean, come on.
Goodness. Even AP, the biggest Chiefs fan, was like, I'm off them. This isn't a great script. It's going to be a lower scoring game. Not my guy.
I didn't know this part. AP tried to talk about it, Kelsey, and he doubled down.
AP was like, yeah, he's like, I'll always have one Mahomes lineup, but this week there are better spots, and DC just got baited into it because I said Drake London, and here we go. But I have to bring her in. Because what she did yesterday is nothing short of amazing. Nothing short of amazing. If you've played DFS like we have for years, I've been doing this since, I don't know, 2015, something like that, almost every day, grinding this out. I could not imagine winning like clearly nearly $1.1 million on just 3 lineups. Been a member for about a year, only recently dabbled in the Discord. I will tell you, that's probably a good idea to spend a little bit less time in Discord. Alicia Hunt, Millie Maker winner, Run Pure Sports member. You got to be doing pretty good today.
Yeah, it's still, it hasn't set in yet. I don't know when it's going to seem real.
It's going to seem real when you pull up that account and see that 1.2 stack sitting up in that top right column.
When they send you the email saying, we're not going to write a check for this, we need your bank info, that's when it becomes real. But
it's always a good thing, right, JT? When because sometimes you cash out whatever, a couple hundred, couple thousand. They don't really check too much into it. You just get, okay, how do you want it to check, whatever. When you get that big boy one, though, all of a sudden you got to get some bank info, some different things. Yep. Great stuff.
Yeah, the first big hit when the VIP group starts hitting you up and they're like, hey, that's a pretty good feeling. Alicia, how'd you go about this? Because you had a low-owned stack involving Geno Smith, and then perhaps one of the sharpest plays on the whole slate. I feel like a complete donkey for not just jamming them in. The Cleveland Browns defense, kind of an obvious play in hindsight, looking at what the Texans offense is, but talk us through how you go about your process and how you went about it yesterday.
So typically what I do is I'll go over, the core plays, look at BigT stuff a lot. And what I did was I took bits and pieces of what I liked, and then I threw in some of the stuff that I liked. I figured a lot of people were going to go with Burrow or Mahomes yesterday. And also, what was the other game in the morning that was big?
The Detroit game, I think, was the
Detroit game. Yeah. So, and Goff is kind of, he's spotty. You never know what he's going to do. But I'm like, against Minnesota, I think he can get to St. Brown. And then I took Swift because I figured he was going to have to throw to Swift. And Williams got 1 touchdown. But I thought it would be more of a passing to the running back game rather than, Williams just running it in every time, which happened. Oh no, wait, that was my other lineup. Sorry. So I had Swift in that other lineup that came in 4th place. But I did Goff and him and St. Brown on one lineup, and then Geno. I just was like, you know what? I'm going to throw Geno in here because he does pretty well. Why not? And Cleveland just seemed like it made sense because, I'm not a huge fan of Watson. I used to play him back in the day in my fantasy teams, and he did well for me, but he's super rusty. It's going to take him a while to get back in there. And I just feel like the team probably is hyped up, and I'm like, I just think they're going to kill the Texans. So that was my thought process on it. And Devontae Adams, I had a feeling he was just going to go off.
And go off he did. And go off he did. And it's always, listen, we're going to forgive you for confusing bits and pieces of your top 5 lineups in the largest contest that DraftKings offers. That's no problem. So thank you for joining us. We're going to talk a little bit more about your lineup there, get some thoughts on what you think about tonight's game and how you're, what are you going to do? What are you going to do, right? This is a big moment to take down that contest. I want to bring in next my guy, Chris Randone. He has had a very busy weekend. If you watched our Friday NBA show, he's been having a good time. He's currently now, you can see the yellow table. He's in a McDonald's in San Diego trying to get a lift out to the airport to get home to San Diego. How are the chicken nuggets today, Randone? Did you actually get those lineups in after coming home from the club at about 9 a.m.?
And I don't know how I'm in McDonald's San Diego trying to get back to San Diego, JT. I think
Miami, San Diego, wherever you are, you're in a fucking McDonald's.
You got me more confused than ever right now, and it's already bad enough for me because your boy had a weekend. But no, congratulations to Leslie. First off, looking at the lineup, roster construction is great. I told her before the show, love the 2 cheap running back plays, and then obviously you just you go hard with the wide receivers. All those guys were highly optimal plays. They all graded out well, so congrats to her. $1 million. Had no idea who she was when she appeared on Zoom. Had no idea what she won, but I'm very well aware now. So that's amazing. But yeah, no, I'm excited to talk about the slate actually. This game is going to be very interesting in a multitude of ways, especially if the injuries on the defensive side for the Saints really hold up. So definitely looking forward to this game because we got the mojo here with Leslie, so we need to ship 500K tonight.
Actually, Alicia, Leslie's my wife. I'm using her computer.
Oh.
But you know what? She helps me too, and she loves you guys.
We've got the mojo. We've got Alicia. We've got Leslie here in spirit, and it seems that we're going to ship tonight. Randone, for you guys that are watching, by the way, Randone's not kidding. When he came on, he's like, "Hey, what'd you win yesterday?" And we joked for a little bit about that. But go ahead, hit the like, hit the subscribe. Do it for Alicia. Do it for Leslie. Do it for Randone, who was in a McDonald's in some city. Big T, how are you doing on this Monday?
Going good. I'm on here with you good people, on here with the new Millie Maker. I want to hear what she did last night. That's the stuff I care about. I mean, Randone's partying in Miami. After you win $1 million, you rooted it in. What'd you guys do? You had to do something fun.
We went to the liquor store because we ran out of beer. We grabbed a couple cases of beer, came back home, did a few shots of tequila, and then ordered some Benihanas, which is hibachi here in Illinois. I had that delivered, ate that, and passed out. And woke up in the morning and I said, "Holy shit, is it real or did I dream?"
So how early in the slate? How early in the slate did you think you had a legit chance? Was it after the morning? Was it at what point were you like, we might actually win? Because everyone gets in the Millie every week, myself included. We get in there. Well, you don't like truly think you're going to ship it. You're hoping to make money. At least that's how I look at it. Of course, we say we want to ship it. We do. But you don't realistically think you're going to have a chance. But every once in a while, a couple times a year, for those of us that play a ton, you'll have those teams that creep up there. At what point did you think you had a realistic chance to get this puppy?
So I knew there was a pretty decent chance after the morning games. And then when the afternoon games started, I was creeping up. And I think at halftime, Davante Adams had like 9 points or something. And I'm like, I gave Leslie my phone. I'm like, "Hey, can you look at this? This is too much." And she likes to see like, who's behind me, how many people they have, who's ahead of me, who do they have? Does anybody have the similar lineup? And she's looking, and she literally had my phone from halftime and at the afternoon games through the end of the game because I'm like sweating and I'm like, "Holy cow, this could really happen." And she's like, "No, it's gonna happen. Like it's really gonna happen." We had to knock P. Ryan out and make sure he was done, and I think Palmer was on another guy's, and I'm like, "Okay, Davante Adams, you need to get your shit together now." And he just went off in the second half. And then I knew it was happening.
Did you have any late sweats or because I didn't see it till the end, obviously. Was there anything close at the end or were you pretty comfortable?
No. So the way it really happened was I put these in in the morning at like 9, something. Like I said, we got a kitten, was up at like 3 in the morning. The cat got loose. Like it's just been crazy around here. So I was like, I'm going to take a nap. I put my 3 lineups in the morning, took my nap, woke up, looked at all your guys's research. And I was like, okay, this is good. I'm going to switch this up a little bit. I go, you know what? I'm going to leave them just as is. I'm not going to play with them. Because sometimes I do that. I'll go in and I'll go, "Oh shit. If I would have left this like that, I would have."
First reaction's almost always the right reaction.
Yep. So I said, I'm going to leave them and that's it. And that's where it stood. And it was a spectacular day. Couldn't ask for anything better, really.
Just awesome stuff. We couldn't be happier for you as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, huge congratulations. And that's the best thing, right? We have people, Big T, in Discord all the time. "Oh, I swapped off of this guy for that. I made this."
We still do it, JT. It's not just people in Discord.
Oh no. I'm just past the point of complaining about it, right? I'm just like we got people in Discord who are just all miserable, like, "I did this," and like, I did that. Yeah, I swapped out 50 lineups and they all suck. So I mean, that happens. But once again, congratulations. We'll get into this slate here. Members, if you guys have any questions for Alicia, this is someone who's been, like I said, a member for a year. But more importantly, what I'm hearing, making her own decisions, looking at what's in there, thinking about what she agrees with, and also doing her own analysis and saying, "All right, I like what this person says. I like this part of Big T's pool, but I feel strongly about Davante Adams, and I'm going to play him. And I feel strongly that the Seahawks can have a good day here, the passing attack," which is something that we encourage all of the members to do. Go ahead, get in there, hit the like, hit the subscribe. Questions for Alicia, go ahead. We will get those and ask her to answer them, give her give you her thoughts, and then also what body part should DC amputate, because we're going to do that on a live show as far as I want to do it. We'll get into this slate.
JT, before you hop in, just the last
Yes.
point, because I think it's so good what she does is so many times people are like, I use all the content and I just don't know what I'm doing wrong and blah, blah, blah. You can't just go in and play any content, ours or any site blindly. You got to have your own takes a little bit. You got to put your own flavor in the mix. And I think that's what she did great. I mean, if you have strong takes, go with your strong takes. We're just there to help, right, JT? I mean, we're there to help, give a little basis. If you're torn on some stuff, go with it. I love her approach. If you have strong takes on it, go with it. You don't have to go exactly with what the content says.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll just ask. We'll have one question here because I thought it was interesting too. But I mean, the way I looked at it was Janet Parker is saying found it interesting, no run backs at all, or correlating the running back in defense. But in terms of the run back with the Rams, Seahawks 7-point favorites on the road. And I think sometimes people stay away from these matchups. When you look at how terrible the Rams are, what was the thought process there? Was that they're not going to offer any resistance and the Seahawks can just do what they want?
Yeah, I mean, I just think there's so many injuries. I don't feel like they're real strong this year. I feel like they're done for the season. And so Gino he's been doing great this year, and he's great from a DFS perspective. And I knew he was going to be really low owned. There was a lot of other guys out there that were going to, grab up all the chalk. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to throw him in. Why not? And it was the best decision I ever made.
It was a very, very good decision. Very good decision on that Sunday slate. All right. So 102 likes, 374 watching. Let's get that number up. Again, questions in the chat. New Orleans at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, 3.5-point favorites here, a 41 total. It's going to be 70 degrees and clear in Tampa Bay this evening. This line has gone down a little bit, 3 points off of the Bucs favorite. So they were 6.5-point favorites. They're now 3.5. Some big injuries on both sides. A lot of injury news for the Saints. Juwan Johnson is out. Defensive end Peyton Turner and safety JT Gray are also out. Marshawn Lattimore questionable once again. On the Bucs side, Tristan Wirfs, offensive tackle, is out. That is a big issue. Safety Mike Edwards, cornerback Sean Murphy Bunting, and safety Anton Winfield Jr. are all doubtful. And Lenny Fournette and Cameron Brate are questionable. Big T, I'll go to you first. Overall leans on this game. It's a in-division NFC South game. Tampa Bay, I guess by product of all the other teams suck really a lot worse than them, in position here to take another step towards clinching this division. What are you thinking overall here?
Yeah, first of all, one of my favorite matchups in all of Showdown is these two teams over the last couple of years, because what happens is everyone leans towards Tampa, and New Orleans flat out owns them. We've seen it for the last 3 years. The scores, I mean, earlier this year even, the score was 20-10, but New Orleans easily could have won that game. There was like a pick six, I think, and a weird, it was the Brady grounding game, I think, where it was a questionable grounding play. They played them tough in that game. Last year, 9-0, 36-27 in the two games. They beat them 38-3. This was the game I remember, actually. It was a Monday night or a Thursday night game in 2020. In New Orleans, it was the same spread as tonight in Tampa. And New Orleans won 38-3, total domination. And it's funny because that year, that was Tampa's Super Bowl year. I don't think they lost again that season after the 38-3 drubbing in this game. For whatever reason, the style they play just matches this matchup. And I love it because in Showdown, whenever we can play 4-2 or even 5-1 the other way, probably not 5-1 tonight. You don't need to do that. But even 4-2 New Orleans tonight is going to be so low owned. And it gives you options still with the Tampa side that I think you got a lot of ways you can still go with only two pieces. I just think New Orleans plays them great. This game tonight is a huge game, obviously. I mean, New Orleans is 4-8. Tampa's 5-6, though. So technically they're right there still if they can beat Tampa in this game. This division's so bad. I think New Orleans plays them good again. I love the matchup, and I love that it's Showdown. If this was a main slate game, we wouldn't really get to capitalize on the edge. In Showdown, though, I mean, everyone's going to jam Tampa tonight. So I think there's a big, big advantage in our favor this evening.
Yeah, main slate, this seems like a game you would cross off, C-Dome, with the Bucs heading back home, coming off a overtime loss in Cleveland. What are you looking at here?
Yeah, Big G's kind of right. A lot of ownership going to the Tampa Bay side of things. I think we'll see a lot of ownership go to the main guys like Captain, like Godwin, Brady, Evans, and then people are going to have to make decisions though when it comes to the running back game, like Fournette and White. They're both priced kind of the same. So if Fournette plays, how does that play into each other? I do like what Big T said about attacking the other side though. Kamara, for the first time ever, he's not the highest priced guy on like a showdown slate. He's the third highest. And, typically looking at it originally, I felt, this was a pretty neutral spot as far as leverage. But as the day goes on, and if ownership, continues to fall for Kamara, this could be a spot to maybe have leverage with Kamara. But, I love Chris Olave too. It's just difficult for me to kind of really wrap my head around both these defenses at the moment. When you look at both sides, when you look at the Saints, obviously it's hard to, kind of run against them outside of a few games a season. Tampa Bay, they don't run the ball though. So, they got like 800 yards on the year. So I think it's just going to be all passing. And if that's the case, and if they are scoring, I don't mind New Orleans whatsoever when it comes to quite a few guys. So I'm curious to kind of see as we dive into this, what we feel is optimal. But I will say, looking at it right now and looking at the last two states we played in Showdown, I'm going to start really understanding kind of how we can really have an edge tonight. And I think the New Orleans side of the ball is where we have an edge.
All right, C-Dome, the chat is getting a little bit creative with where you might be, given the audio. But listen, guys, I mean, here he is. He's off a complete bender all weekend in Miami, and he's trying to help out the people. So, Alicia, we'll come over to you. What do you think about this game overall? Any strong leans here on this showdown slate? And how have you been doing on the showdown? Is that something that you've been doing the same type of theory, putting in a couple of lineups, taking stands? How have you approached it?
You know what? I've been doing all right on showdowns. It's either really good or it sucks. I like to put in my 1.5 or in my captain spot. I like to put somebody who's, super low owned. It works for me. I know I think a lot of people will pick Brady for the captain spot. There's a few people on, I love Brady, don't get me wrong. But I would rather have Andy Dalton in that spot tonight just for ownership purposes. And if you want my other opinion, I like Olave and Troutman. So those probably will be in my cores.
Alicia, when someone wins $1 million on 3 lineups, there is no question that we want all of your opinions, not just your opinion on the captain and who to pair them with. But so Andy Dalton, the captain, very interesting. Randone, it looks like you got a notification your flight is boarding. But before you do that, the people absolutely need to hear the 13th disciple play of the day. Who is the 13th disciple play of the day for this showdown slate?
Yeah, I'm sorry guys, the audio is horrible. I'm about to hop on a plane, but just to kind of say one thing, really focus on Jarvis Landry tonight. Focus on Adam Troutman. Focus on Chris Olave. I think there's some guys here that can be very interesting. And then, like I said before, you can get different tonight a little bit. So for me tonight personally, I like looking at these guys like Rashid Shaheed. Even Marcus Holloway. I really do think that one of these guys will be in the million maker lineup. So. Or the $500,000 line. But good luck to everyone. Sorry I couldn't be on the show and the audio is horrible. So I'll take that on this one.
I know, and have a safe flight, and we will see you Friday for the Hardwood Show. Get home safe and get some rest.
All right, take care, guys.
Bye.
All right, Big T. So here we are. Alicia's already talked about Andy Dalton, maybe playing him in the captain. Your quarterback's here. It's not your normal slate, as you know. These are the opportunities that you have come to really like.
C-Dome said, DD said, C-Dome, please give Brittany Griner our best wishes. That's too good. Come on.
The guesses about where he might be were pretty great.
His audio was tough, so whoever's watching it, he usually gives winners. He's on the move today, though. Tough weekend from him.
Yeah, fantastic. He had a great weekend. He's about to hop on a flight. He still tried to make it work. That's the kind of Assistance.
Connor said, I hope he gets on the right flight. The chat's on fire with C-Dome. But
Oh my
yeah,
God.
I mean, to talk about what you guys were already saying, I mean, some of these New Orleans plays, I'm all about it. So you look at these prices, Troutman. Let me pull this up real quick here. So
And while you do that, Troutman with no Juwan Johnson, he's out. That should open up opportunity. And then when we're talking about a normal slate with two quarterbacks, you've got your guy Taysom in here.
Yeah.
So go ahead and address that.
Always the jersey on for Taysom. It's not like the good old days, though, where we'd get him for 1,200, 200, 400. He'd be low owned, too. Now we get him. He's priced up a little bit, but he's not going to be that owned tonight. So we can put him in the mix. Definitely not like a guy that I would force in like I used to, but I'll definitely have him in the mix. I like the Dalton call, though. And the good part about Dalton is like that showdown we had early in the year. I don't remember who they played, but we said if you're going to play Dalton, play him with two pass catchers. And you have clear distribution here. I mean, Olave, we all love Olave. Troutman at 1,200 looks like one of the best plays of the slate to me. We've seen Shaheed have a couple of long plays, which is great for showdown. I mean, he could get you 0, but he could also get you a 75-yard touchdown the first drive or the last drive of the game, which totally mints you up there. Jarvis Landry's been a target monster. There's a lot of ways you can go. And with guys like Dalton, I just love playing two pass catchers and everything lines up perfectly. So there's 3 guys right there. We want to play 2 Tampa guys, and you throw one more New Orleans guy in here. It could be Kamara even, who, like you guys said, is priced a little cheaper. I don't know. The roster construction seems cut and dry, and I'm all aboard with what you guys were kind of talking about out of the gate.
Yeah.
Could be Travis is asking, would you play Taysom and Dalton together on this slate?
People always ask me about Taysom because of the success we had early on. The one correlation I don't usually play with Taysom is actually Kamara. I just don't think they really go that well together because he's vulturing him around the goal line, which that's why we're playing Taysom, for the vultures. Or he comes in and throws it deep when he does throw it, which also isn't to Kamara. So bad correlation there. And with Dalton, I mean, you really don't want him vulturing Dalton either. So I've been putting the rules over at Run Pure. People that look at my player pool for the showdowns, I've been putting rules on there. I can almost guarantee tonight one rule will be max 1 of Kamara, Dalton, and Taysom. And I don't think people will have that rule. At least with Dalton and Kamara, I don't think people think of that. But I don't know. You'll get if you just go in and run the optimizer, it goes back to the point where you got to add some flavor to it to get where you want to get. You just need rules like that. And yeah, people probably won't use this rule, but if you don't, you're going to end up with some builds that have all 3 of these guys. And I don't really see any path of that being in the winner's circle tonight. So I probably will have that rule. Dalton and Taysom, maybe I had a little bit because Taysom does only need 1 play to get there, but I definitely won't play him with Kamara. Tons of times when Taysom did get there, I was frustrated because I had Kamara too, and Kamara busted at a super high ownership. So that's one rule that I will clearly have. And yeah, like Joe's saying in the chat, Ingram should be included there too. Yeah, I mean, he didn't play last week, did he? I don't know. I need to pull it up. I can't remember if he played last week, but yeah, I mean, I would put him in there too. You just don't want the only thing about him, he is cheaper at 4,400. So maybe he could get there too, but you're going to have to tune into the sheet later on Run Pure because I'll have some good rules on the sheet tonight.
Yeah, last week the Saints were in San Francisco, and honestly, it was a situation on a main slate where I didn't consider a single Saint. So I'm not sure if Ingram played. I think it was a few weeks ago when Kamara was out that Ingram was active. Alicia, we'll move over to you. You were talking about Andy Dalton. You have any thoughts in particular on Taysom Hill at this point? And then we want to go into running back here. And like we talked about, Alvin Kamara, 10K, Mark Ingram, 4.4. And then you have a bit of a muddy mess on the Tampa Bay side with Fournette questionable. Rashad White is 7-0, Fournette himself 7-4. And then a couple of cheap guys that really I don't expect to get in the mix. It really got into the mix very little last week, even though Fournette was active in Keyshawn Vaughn and Giovanni Bernard. So thoughts there and on Taysom Hill.
No, I agree with Big T. If you put Taysom in, I think you're contradicting if you put Andy or you put Kamara in there. they're all kind of fighting for the same thing. So it's kind of counterproductive. So I agree with that. I personally don't usually play Taysom. He has like one game this year that really it paid off, and he's not. I don't play Kamara that much either. I just don't feel like he's doing very well this year. I don't know if that's the line or what's going on with that, but I would probably play Ingram, to be honest with you. He did play last week and he got 1 point, but I think he'll get a little more action. On the Tampa Bay side, I think White's got the starting job, so I would absolutely go with him. I think he's proved himself. He's done well.
So no interest in Fournette if he's active?
No, not for me.
All right, Big T, we'll bring it over to you on this running back situation for both of these teams. A little bit of I think on Tampa Bay side, a little bit more question than certainly on the New Orleans side.
Yeah, I just kind of go with the take from last week. Even when Fournette was out, I just think they want Rachaad White. I honestly do. He looks fresher to me. He looked good last week. He's looked good all year. It reminds me a lot of Pollard and Zeke, except not even to the point where Dallas still wants to use Zeke. I'm convinced that Fournette's the worst play on the slate. I give that line. Holden makes fun of me when I use it, but I just think he is. 7,400 for Lenny Fournette, even if it is a shared backfield. Say it is 50-50. I don't want to pay 7,400 for Uncle Lenny when I think Rachaad White's the better guy at the same price. It makes it a little tougher to play Rachaad White too, so he could end up somewhat low owned, I think. But like if you look at projections around the industry tonight, you're going to see these guys projected pretty close. Not in my projections. I'm going to have Rachaad White projected probably 14 or 15 points, and I'll have Lenny under 10. Like, I'm not going to play Lenny. I'll make it simple.
Do you have any concern that you're dealing with a head coach in Todd Bowles who, listen, I mean, pretty significant drop off from last year to this in terms of the Tampa Bay coaching staff. No concern that, hey, this is a playoff push and he may go back to the guy who's been the horse for them for a few years? I
do, but as we know, and as we see all the time, you just got to take some stands. I mean, if you don't go with some takes, take some stands, it's just too hard, at least for me. I know some people that run the Sims and stuff, they can get a little bit more creative with it, but I got to take stands, especially when you got other guys too. As we get to the receivers and stuff, Godwin and Evans are always in play. Obviously, Brady's going to be one of the most popular, if not the most popular of the night. And I think Tampa's going to lose the game. So if I don't like Tampa and I already have these other pieces that I like more, I just can't do it. I mean, I really think he's the worst play on the slate. I would even play like Julio over Fournette for a 2K discount.
Absolutely.
You like Julio too?
I do. I played him last week on the main slate and he did well. I mean, for the points he got, I mean, you can't go wrong.
He seems like a pretty good discount too, JT.
He's sitting there. We're going to get into wide receiver here. That will lead us right into wide receiver. But first of all, guys, if you've just joined, if you're not sure what the hell is going on here, meet Alicia Hunt. She is your latest Run Pure Sports $1 million winner. Took down the main slate $20 milli yesterday, as well as another contest for $40,000. So almost 1.2 million in winnings with just a handful of lineups. So for those of you out there, members never win, we've got living proof right here. So go ahead, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and then also all the content. As Big T was referencing, his player pool is going to be up. His cores are going to be up. And as he said last Monday, they were up early. They were up before I was thinking about building. So they're going to be up tonight. He's also going to have, of course, as usual, his NBA player pool, his NBA cores. There is, from the bet side, Run Pure Bets. They do a NBA betting show every day. AP joins that. I think it's a couple of times a week, at least. I know on Fridays, giving out just absolute gems there. Our guy Spread, when he's not forced to work in the rooms there at Folsom State Prison, he's got a podcast. It's Talking Touchdown podcast. So go ahead, head on over to Run Pure Sports, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button on YouTube. You get notifications for all of our content. Big T, this wide receiver situation, listen, you've got now Godwin, Evans, Julio creeping into the mix there on the Tampa Bay side. Russell Gage hasn't been doing a lot. He's questionable here. Then you look here with the New Orleans side, Chris Olave. You've got Traquan Smith, Marquez Callaway, who Randone mentioned. You've got Rashid Shaheed, who could get in the mix for just 1,400. And remember that Juwan Johnson is out, so it's a couple more targets to go around. Who are your favorite pieces here? And noting that maybe because of the way that these games have played out, Tampa Bay side, Evans, Godwin, they really just haven't done a whole lot against New Orleans over the last couple of years. A spike game here and there, but normally disappointing.
Yeah, definitely. And the prices are up for those guys too. I mean, you got Godwin 10-6. That price is up there, man, for a guy that really hasn't. I know he hit a ceiling last week, 13 for 110, but you look at the rest of the season, he didn't have any other games above 19. I mean, this is a big boy price. 10, 13, 11, 15, 12. I like Godwin, don't get me wrong. He's a good floor play, but at this price point, it's a tough button to click if I like New Orleans side. That kind of gets me to the Julio point. I mean, Julio is half price of Chris Godwin. And don't get me wrong, Godwin's obviously a better player at this point of their careers, but it's showdown. It only takes one play. Julio can house one. He housed one last week or the week before, whatever it was. Mike Evans has touchdown upside. He's cheaper, 1K cheaper than Godwin. I just don't get it. And you look at the ownership for Godwin, I mean, the dude is projected 60-something% owned. He just feels too expensive to me. And to lead on to the New Orleans side, Olave is what, 8,400, 2,200 cheaper than Godwin. And I think he's a better play. If they were the same price, I would like Olave more. So I would rank Olave the best receiver in the game. I'm not a huge Jarvis Landry guy, but his price feels fair. He's half price of Godwin. I don't think he's that much worse of a play than Godwin. Again, a different point of their careers. He's a little older. He used to be like Godwin in a way where he had these floors where he catches 8 balls for 50 yards. Maybe he scores, maybe he doesn't. But I don't know. I think Landry's a decent play, which keeps bringing me back to the Dalton captain that we talked about to start the show. But you have a lot of receiving options for good prices. Olave's too cheap. Landry's too cheap. The tight end's too cheap. I just naturally go with this New Orleans side. Mike Evans, though, is a guy that can always break a slate. I know he loves playing New Orleans. He's had some good games. He's had some bad games in this matchup. I think Lattimore's still questionable tonight. I don't know for sure, but if he's in there, I think the last game's when Evans got suspended for these two fighting. I'm pretty sure they always fight every freaking year, but I love the matchup. Could Mike Evans break the slate? Absolutely. So I would actually put him ahead of Godwin. And then, I mean, I don't think I'll play these cheapies, Perriman, Miller, whoever's active down there. I don't think you need that tonight. If Gage is out, I mean, maybe you could play one of those guys. And the New Orleans side, who's their cheaper? I mean, Traquan, I don't really want to play him. Shaheed, though, like I said, he's 1,400. And he's got big play upside, which is a good thing for these cheap guys. So I could play Shaheed for sure. I'm just naturally drawn to these New Orleans guys. I really like their side tonight.
There's a lot of wild cards there on the cheaper side at wide receiver on the New Orleans side. Alicia, someone in chat asking, do you hand build your lineups? Did you hand build those lineups yesterday when you put them in the morning?
Yesterday, yes, but the answer is yes and no. So sometimes I use some, but yesterday I just hand built them.
And when you say sim, you mean the Saber sim component?
Saber sim, yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, excellent. Thoughts here, Alicia, on the receivers, and thoughts on maybe fading the 10K range entirely, which takes you off of Kamara and Chris Godwin.
My favorite tonight is Olave. I think he's going to kill it. I'm probably going to throw him in my captain spot also. But then there's also, I think he's going to be pretty owned though. I mean, if you don't put him in your lineup, I think you're silly and you don't really have a chance. So that's where I go to Andy Dalton.
I like these takes, JT. She comes in hard. I like this. She comes in. This is what it's all about right here. I like it.
I'm just keeping it real, right?
Yeah, that's what we like on here.
But it's what you have to do when you're building, and I do two different things, right? Either multi-entering or just going with a handful of lineups. When you build with a handful of lineups, it forces you to make those decisions and say, I'm just going to go this path because if I'm right, it's going to be really, really good. If I'm wrong, we'll play again tomorrow. But go ahead, Alicia, finish what you were.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, you got to take chances. That's the only way you're going to win. I mean, you can't follow suit of everybody else. You've got to get different somewhere. And, yeah, I think Brady, Godwin, they're all going to be chalky tonight. Everybody's going to go after it. And it may pan out, but the odds of you winning the big one with that lineup, I just don't think it's going to work. Because you're right. I mean, when they play New Orleans is a good fight, and they usually do end up winning.
It's a great point. You got to take chances in life and in DFS. You can't do what everyone else is doing, or you're going to be stuck with everybody else. Once again, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Questions for Alicia in there. I think someone helped out and recapped the after win celebration that she had last night. Benihana's, by the way, I haven't seen a Benihana's in a little while. So I'm glad it's still there. I'm glad you can still get that tasty Benihana's after an exciting win. Big T, the tight end position here. We've got Adam Troutman at just 1,200 with Juwan Johnson out all season long. They've steadily worked in Johnson to where he's been a key component of their offense. He did really, really well in that same showdown against Arizona where you were talking about the Andy Dalton captain winning everything. He's not there tonight. Troutman there, just 1,200. There's really, in my opinion, none of these other tight ends for New Orleans have really seen the field. So really difficult to predict any of them doing anything useful. On the Tampa Bay side, Cameron Brate is questionable. And then you have Cade Otton at 1,800 and Ko Kieft at 400, who got into the mix last week, but maybe that was because of the injuries to Brate. Thoughts here on the tight end position?
Yeah, I'm with Alicia too. That I think Troutman. I feel good being aligned with the recent Millie Maker here because Troutman, man, how in the world do you not play him tonight at 1,200? I know he's going to be pretty popular, but he's not going to be popular enough. I mean, even if he's 25% owned, which I don't think he'll get that high, even, but the dude he's 1,200 on a slate where we have a ton of higher priced guys. I could almost click the lock button. It reminds me a little bit of Jelani on Thursday, whatever slate. Jelani was a good play last Thursday, maybe, or maybe last Monday, the Monday show.
The Hoop shipped everything with Jelani.
Yeah, it reminds me of that play in a way because he was like 1,400 or 1,600 that night, and we had a lot of studs. I really don't see how you don't play Troutman on every team tonight. The dude's 1,200. There's not that many other good cheapies. I mean, maybe you go to Shaheen on a team too or something, but I love Troutman, and the Tampa side's pretty simple. Yeah, you can play both of these tight ends. Brate, if he's in there, 3K. If Brate's somehow out, Cade Otton would be a great play. He's a great play even if Brate's in at 1,800. Great value play. And then Kieft, if Brate was out, I would like him for sure at 400. But if he's in, I doubt you just don't need to go that cheap again to get to him. But I like the tight end position tonight. Whoever's in there, I think's in play at these prices because we're going to want the studs. We just are. I mean, even if I don't like Tampa, I'm still going to want to spend up for a few of those guys. You have to. They're going to, even if they get blown out, they're going to have points from those positions. So I'm in on the tight ends.
Alicia, the fan club is growing. Sprite Soda, great name, Sprite Soda. Sprite Soda wants to see you on here twice a week. There's talk in there of getting you some, and I hope this already happened. I'm pretty sure that our head of product, who's Amber Need's house, has already packaged up a little gearbox for you to get you rolling in the Run Pure Sports gear.
I'm going to tell her right now after this. She's got to get that going. We got to get her gear.
And then, Alicia, people are asking, Dante Jones wants to know, what kind of beer did you guys drink last night?
Oh, we kept it simple. I had to work today. Miller Lite and Modelo.
Wait a second. You went to work today? You did work after that?
I did go to work.
Oh,
yeah.
What a soldier. The night after shipping the Millie, right back to work. That's how it's done.
I run a big warehouse and I've got like 60 employees that count on me, so I got to be there.
That's what it's all about, though. Right back at the grind.
Yep. It's a lot of money, but I want to invest it and I want to win more, you know.
You got all the right answers. I'm freaking loving everything you're saying here. I'm taking notes.
This is perfect. Yeah, Uncle T is in the chat. He says, what a hero going to work after that type of day, even with the likely hangover. That's fantastic. Alicia, thoughts here on the tight end position? As we said, right? Troutman, very cheap play. You already said you have some interest in him. What about the Tampa Bay side? And then anything else in these cheap tight ends, whichever one New Orleans may have active?
One thing I'm going to say about the tight ends in Tampa Bay, I don't know why he doesn't utilize Otten more. I just don't. I think he's a good tight end, and he keeps throwing up zeros. And is he as good as Gronk was with Brady? I don't know, but I think that he should build some chemistry with him because, it's just, I feel like he could be really a good weapon for them. And they underutilize him really bad, in my opinion.
Otten was the backup, and then he gets onto the field because of injuries to Brady. And he looked like, to your point, he looked like they didn't even skip a beat, right? This was just a guy who could play the position well. Brady likes going to his tight ends. One thing I don't think we covered this enough, but want to make sure of this. Alicia, you mentioned Dalton in captain. You mentioned favoring, like Big T does, the New Orleans side. Any interest whatsoever in Tom Brady here at 10.4, even as maybe in flex for you?
Yeah, and I might, I might probably throw Brady in and a captain on one of them, but yeah, I think he's been coming around, and I think he really wants to win that division, and he's going to fight for it. Are they going to win tonight? I don't think so, but I think they're going to put up a fight, and they're going to put up some points, and that's where you win. So.
And if Tampa Bay doesn't win tonight, that means that Drake London and the Atlanta Falcons would be in a statistical tie for them. So go ahead and hit in there in the chat which body part DC should have to amputate. Tyler from the bet side thinks we should take a thumb. I think that's a little bit too generous for the type of vitriolity that I had to put up with yesterday morning. But Big T, thoughts on Tom Brady, and then your favorite topic, maybe more so than Taysom, or just on the same level of any of these showdown slates, kickers and defenses.
Yeah, Brady's going to be more of a flex play for me, but I'll definitely have him in the flex just because of straight floor where they're going to throw it. I think they're going to be down. I don't love the running game like I talked about with Lenny. Even Rachaad White, I like more through the passing game where dump offs, screen game, all that. So everything's going to go through Brady for me, where I think he's going to be my favorite flex play. I won't have him in the captain though. Because I don't want to play Brady with two pass catchers, and to put him in the captain, you're going to have to do that. Like, I wouldn't even know what my build would be. I guess it would be Julio plus either a tight end or Evans or something. I just don't want to do that. It's going to be too popular for me. So he'll be in the flex though. Absolutely. And then kickers and Ds. Kickers, I mean, both these kickers have had big games in the past. Suck up averages 8.8. He's had 5 double-digit games, and Lutz 7.1 with 4 double-digit games. So both solid kickers, not like locks for me at all, but also solid plays. Like, if you land on one of these kickers, I definitely don't mind it. Defenses, I'm definitely not going to play Tampa's D. I think Tampa's D will be maybe the most over-owned play on the slate, especially after what we saw from Dallas last night. That was just a smash spot from Dallas. Look at Tampa's D, though. They haven't hit they haven't hit above 8 since week 2, which was against New Orleans when they took Dalton to the house twice. People will remember that, though. I'm telling you, they will be so over-owned tonight. They might be 30 to 40% owned on this slate, which is egregious. So whoever I said earlier was the worst play of the slate, I just changed my mind. I think the Bucs D is the worst play on the slate. 4,800. There's no chance that you should be playing this defense tonight. If Dalton, who does throw picks in prime time, if he does it tonight, so be it. I'm going to have a bad night if he does it. I can't do it with this defense. No chance. And the New Orleans D, though, I can play because we've seen Brady get more pressure this year. They lost another lineman last week. And you look at this D, they've had a 16-point game. They really haven't had much upside either besides that. So I guess I don't love it, but I just feel like they rise up for this matchup. I think Tampa has line issues up front. New Orleans is a physical team, even though they haven't totally crushed this year. I'm in on New Orleans D. No, again, not like a forced in play. Like last night, I had Dallas D in the captain. It's not going to be one of those plays, but if I land on New Orleans D in a build, I'm okay with, especially like a Kamara build or even a Taysom or some kind of like tricky build. I could land on New Orleans D.
Preference of suck up or Lutz here. It sounds like maybe you would have a little bit more exposure to Lutz given the way.
Every time I'm like convinced that one's better than the other one scores. I think kickers are so freaking random. And I mean, I could act like I'm confident in one, but the truth is, like, if I played a Dalton captain, I'd probably play suck up. If I played a Tampa heavy, I'd probably go the opposite kicker. Would be the basic way I would decide which one I play.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. The people in here are very interested. Polish Prince says we should take a kidney. I actually like that idea because it's invasive surgery. Someone else says take a big toe so that every time he goes for a run, he's reminded of Drake London. I like that idea too. Maybe we'll have to have him amputate a couple of things. Alicia, thoughts on kickers and defense here on tonight's slate?
I would go suck up if I was going to pick a kicker. I think I feel like Tampa Bay is going to work down the field, but I don't know if they're going to get in the end zone too much. So suck up is going to come into play there. I would steer away from both defenses. I'm not a huge defensive player unless you really like. I would have if this was a showdown and we had Cleveland and the Texans like yesterday. I would have taken Cleveland all day in the 1.5. There's certain games that I would, but I'm not a huge putting defenses in both, both defenses. A lot of people play that and it, you're ahead in the beginning, but they usually don't stay there. So I'm not a huge fan of playing defenses on Showdown.
No defenses, suck up over Lutz. Cards fan JP40 wants to know if you hand build for Showdown slates as well.
I do both. I do a little bit of both. I guess it depends on my mood. I'll go build some lineups and I'll look at them and go, I'm not feeling it. It depends. It's an internal thing and it's kind of what other people are thinking. And I go with my own gut, if you will.
So if you don't like what you're doing hand building, you may go to the optimizer and see what it's giving you and then take maybe some of that.
Or if I'm not confident in what I'm thinking or what my gut's telling me, I'll go to the optimizer and see what it's throwing out and go, oh, all right, I guess we're on the same page here, which is kind of what I did yesterday. I went to the cores after I put my gut in and I was like, okay, this, to see what aligns and what doesn't and go from there.
Fantastic. And then one more question, because no one has asked it in here, but I'm sure that we're going to see the question in chat later on today. Are you going to be generous enough to post a core for Showdown tonight? The last Millie Maker winner yesterday, you're going to post a core for the people.
I can do that. Sure.
All right. We are going to get Alicia's core into the Discord. What time do you think? Maybe by 8 o'clock, you think it'll be up?
Sure. That's fair. I might be sooner than that.
All right. I like it. An early builder, but Alicia, once again, just incredible job yesterday. Congratulations. Thank you for joining us. I hope you'll join us again at some point in the future. And then I hope the next time you'll be wearing some excellent Run Pure Sports gear. We've got all types of gear.
She's getting the gear for sure. After I get off, we're getting the gear sent to her for sure.
Excellent.
Yeah, I jump on anytime you guys want me to jump on. I love it.
Fantastic. One more question before I get to Big T and get his final thoughts here. You mentioned Dalton as a captain. You mentioned Chris Olave as a captain. Anyone else that you could see using in building just a handful of lineups at the captain position besides those two guys?
I'm probably going to throw Troutman in.
I was just going to say, could you see using Troutman as a captain to get in some of these other pieces that are going to be a little bit more expensive?
Yep, I do.
All right. Big T, thoughts on that? Dalton, Olave, Troutman captains. Anyone else you see that's pretty interesting at the captain spot? And then one bold call for this game tonight.
Yeah, so just to cap off DraftKings, I wanted to talk about FanDuel for 1 second too, because people kept asking. But DK, New Orleans captain for sure for me. You guys covered it. I'll definitely have some Kamara captain just because of how much I like New Orleans. So I'll have a little of him. Dalton's definitely my favorite captain though, and Olave I might like more than Dalton. But I like the New Orleans side. That's my bold take too, is that New Orleans wins this game easy. Everyone's kind of on Tampa for sure. So that's definitely my bold take, that New Orleans wins this game by double digits is my bold take. But real quick look at FanDuel, just because it's always an interesting contrast. We have all these guys again priced up above 12K. Both running backs from Tampa, 11, 12K. The receivers all priced up. Dalton actually looks, it reminds me of that slate. I know I keep saying it, but man, Dalton and the MVP on FanDuel with 2 receivers, he's only 13K. I just think it's such a good build tonight. You can put Olave, Troutman. Troutman's 5K on FanDuel. So, I mean, it just fits so perfectly. I actually like Brady a little bit less on FanDuel too, just because he's 16K and we can play other guys for cheaper. I mean, even Godwin's 12.5. I know he's a PPR guy, but like him a little less. And all these guys in the cheap range, Shaheed 6,500, Ingram even's 5K. When you get the stone minimum price on FanDuel, it gives more value to dusty plays like Ingram. I know Ingram's dusty. I don't like him, but he's 5K and he's a running back. What happens when Kamara gets hurt? What happens when he just gets the goal line work, which we've seen from Ingram before? There's a lot of outs that you can get from a 5K guy. It's almost like the Taysom effect. Like Taysom's 10K. He used to be 5K, though, when we would play him and love him. Ingram almost falls into that bucket. I know people won't like that, but the dude is 5K. Like, he's going to get some carries in this game. You just get really good leverage with that. So I like Ingram for 5K and Troutman for 5K. Lets you play whoever you want at the top. So I think FanDuel's pretty cut and dry tonight. And my last comment, too, to Alicia, I mean, I'm just so impressed with everything she said. Perfect answers. A lot of times, too, like you see someone win a millie and you're like, their team, whatever. We make fun of them on here sometimes. Like, this team made no sense. This team, blah, blah, blah. Everything she said has been perfect to me. She's got conviction. She made great team. I couldn't be more impressed and thankful that she came on. But more than anything, I'm impressed with her. Everything she said's been impressive. And congratulations again. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. I'm honored to be on here. You guys are awesome. And I love when you call people dusty and dirty.
That's all part of the experience. You got to let them know, right, JT? Yeah. We always let them know.
You got to let them know. But seriously, very thoughtful approach. Super, super awesome job yesterday. Congratulations on that. K. Falik Burner, one of our more notorious members here. He's in chat asking the question that we know the answer to. No, K. Falik Burner. Alicia's not single. I hope that Leslie is not recording this because otherwise she'll come down and hunt you down and kill you. Take out the competition. Or C-Dome, who was kind enough to join us from a McDonald's bathroom in Miami. Or Alicia Hunt, Millie Maker Alicia Hunt, as well as Run Pure Sports member for BigT. We are done. Good luck tonight. Simon, get us out of here.